Listen.
Trying to give you a clean segue.
Adam's trying to give us a clean segue from the void of nothingness you heard mere moments ago to somethingness, to manifestation
Yes, ex
of
nihilo,
existence.
this podcast sprung into being.
And that brings us to another episode of 1Upsmanship. Bling, bling. I'm Michael Swaim.
I'm Adam Ganser. I like that sound you just made with your mouth. Can we use it?
Bling, bling.
Thank you. Keep that.
It was like a cross between a Mario sound and a Sonic sound to not offend either tribe.
Just make a song, make our intro song made of that sound. Can we
No.
do it? No, please.
It
Please do
can be done.
It's like vaudeville video game noise.
Who the fuck is that? Please introduce yourself.
I just walked in. I'm Vanessa Gritton. I just sat down.
You know,
I just
We're getting
decided I'm
comfortable
here.
with that here.
we
Yeah.
have a big family here at Small Beans, so this will probably surprise you to know because we go around the dial before we like get back to guests, but you are the
Yeah.
most frequent 1Upsmanship guest.
By a wide
Yay!
margin.
By a wide margin, which
Yeah.
still only means I think this is your 5th appearance. So
It,
because we recorded
Yeah.
in batches, so you
Yeah.
did like you did New Vegas and Fallout 4, for example.
I'm honored.
You should have been. I wish we'd have gotten you for Red Dead 2. We were in a weird place when we recorded that, right? Like we were literally out in
Yeah,
out
Boise,
in,
Idaho.
out in a different
Oh,
state.
man.
But I would have liked to hear your take on that.
I was in a fun, weird place when I was playing Red Dead 2 because it was like a week where I thought unemployment was going to be forever.
Yeah.
So I like really threw
Yeah.
myself into it. So
Wait, didn't you have the glitch notebook?
What?
That was
one.
for Red Dead
That
1.
was one.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So
that
you're
was
saying
Red
we
Dead
should've had her
1.
back.
So when I like got Red Dead 2, it was like the week that I was like, I'm never getting a job again, and I'm just gonna sit
Yeah.
in front of this TV and waste away, and then I just throw myself into it.
Unemployment is like wearing black glasses. You just
Yep.
cannot see past it until it's
Nothing.
over. You
Yep.
just can't. It's real dark.
You can have like a trillion offers too, and it's just like nothing until it's signed. Everything is misery.
Yes.
I'm playing Red Dead 2 forever.
I don't believe in any hope until hope forces itself in front of my eyes.
So
Yep.
speaking of blinding, hopeless misery, today we're covering Super Smash Brothers Ultimate,
Yay!
Yeah.
which elicits just hopelessness and desperation in everyone who comes across it.
It does
much
if
like
you're
unemployment.
If you're playing Jigglypuff. Yeah,
Or
hot
if-
takes. Starting
or
early.
if you're playing endlessly because of severe unemployment.
Yeah.
Let's get off this tone and into a more chipper, festive tone, because I
Sure.
feel
Yeah.
like Smash Brothers kind of demands it.
It
And
really
I know
does.
a lot of people have been probably waiting a while for us to finally talk about Smash.
It's the most
other than
healing.
Incineroar being ours now.
He's been ours for a long time.
Yes.
Now we're having a little spats.
Exactly.
Us and Incineroar. Briefly speaking, I think everyone deserves to know that this is the only game the three of us have all played together.
Yeah.
We played this game together. We had a fun
Oh, I see.
evening where we all played the Smash Brothers Ultimate.
I
It was pretty
remember
great.
I got really, really stoned, and there's several moments where I
Yes.
couldn't figure out the little Switch controllers.
sure couldn't.
Because it was my first time, like, really putting my hands on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Switch
yeah.
controller.
Were we using the paddle broken down to its tiniest form? Like you were just
Yeah.
using
Yeah, yeah.
a little red thing?
I was using
Yeah.
the little
Those things
sliver
suck.
Yeah,
of
the
it.
chip, the controller
Yeah,
chip.
yeah. And I've got, like, these weird little
Bling,
flippy
bling.
fingers, too, so I kept, like, touching the whole D-pad by, the gross guys.
Bro, I was touching her.
Oh, that's right. You
D-pad,
have the weird
bro.
benders.
I got the weird bendy fingers.
yeah.
People need, if you haven't heard prior episodes, Vanessa's fingers bend back in a grotesque way such that it's difficult for her to play video games.
That's right. And we saw it in action because you were struggling with those buttons, man.
It wasn't until I got the bigger controller that I like got comfortable again. But
Yeah.
the amount of times where I'm like, I'm just pushing the whole D-pad.
I didn't put it together until just now.
I
Holy
believe
shit.
you still had a winninger record than me. I was like bottom rated that night or close to
No,
it.
you came out with Dark Samus.
No,
blasting.
there was someone. No, I was at least fourth. I remember walking away burned, shamed. 'Cause that's another thing is Smash Brothers brings out
A lot of competitiveness.
more
It does.
competitiveness than your average fighting game, and I want to understand why.
Yeah.
In format, motherfuckers.
In
So I'm
format.
dragging us back to
That's
format.
fair. Bling bling.
Hey. Oh, all right.
Oh, I'm not allowed to have
me
sound
with-
effects?
Me with the bling bling,
Shit.
you with your own thing, okay?
All right.
Figure something out.
That's,
your own
I'm going to
self.
spend the whole rest of the episode on
I
this.
coined the word bling. Everyone knows that about me.
Bling.
Bling. That's how it's said.
Yeah.
Originally, yeah. It was scripted for David Schwimmer, but I took it back. Bling. as we pivot, Friends reference, to our first checkpoint. We passed a checkpoint, which in Smash Brothers is nothing. So let's just say we passed the checkpoint. And we do our first section called Speed Run.
Yeah.
We generally ask the guests to. Vanessa, would you mind describing Start the Clock, Smash Brothers Ultimate as quickly as possible?
My God, the actual story I think I've only played one time before I played everything else, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do where it's like, we took everything's souls, and now here's the dark version, and there's an evil hand. But yeah, the main point of Smash Brothers is that you kind of play the story the first time, one time through, just to unlock everything, and then you never go back to it again, and you only use it to humiliate your friends, or to just like main as Kirby forever. Anyway, that's what I use it for. This specific game has a lot of contention when it comes to like, is this an item? Is using items valid in an actual match? Is using items not valid in an actual match? There's not a fighting game, I feel like, that has more opinions around it than Super Smash Brothers, and that's the quickest you could break it down, because you can't really... What else is there to say?
Stop that clock! Well done. Well played.
Yeah, everything... There's like a dark... The lights sucked out.
I like the hand. I thought the hand thing really covered it all.
Yeah, I literally
There's an evil hand.
played it one time.
Oh yeah, there's a bad hand.
There's bad hand.
There's actually two evil hands. That's the
and in
twist.
this one they added a crystalline butterfly and another thing, an evil version of that,
like a twisted neon vortex bird
monster.
A neon vortex bird and lyrics.
I love it's devolved to like
the lyrics.
Final boss is just a shape. Like it's
right,
just
it doesn't have a personality
shape
at all.
Yeah.
Like nothing you can latch onto at all about
I
it.
even forget its name, and I just played this. But
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how much nobody actually plays the story in any Smash game.
You say that. I put in 50 hours into that story because it takes forever, and I still don't know any of the names.
This particular one. Yeah, let's race headlong through, much like the story mode of Smash Brothers for Vanessa, so we can get to that precious game on segment.
Yeah.
But I believe there's one more segment in between.
Yep.
So we pass a checkpoint and end up
Bling.
at the rants. Everyone is stepping on my fucking style, and it must end.
Ding.
That's my... Man, that's iterative, and you know it.
It is.
It takes the soul of my concept and exploits it for commercial gain. Ding, ding.
It's every Gremlin spinoff.
Yeah, it's
no
My
kidding.
critters to your Gremlins.
You're the mellow yellow critters go bots of this podcast. And we'll go around the horn clockwise because I decided
With the rants?
And since Vanessa gave us our speed run, she'll go last, which means I am the player one rant.
Ooh.
Player one rant begin now. Ding, fling, bing. Any derivation of bling bling with that note sequence belongs to me now and in perpetuity throughout the known universe. I like Smash Brothers. I do think, I just like everything is for me. This episode is to get to game on and just have a freewheeling conversation about a lot of aspects, but the things I'll just get out in the rant are that it has been the home of many like wild emotional highs and lows for me. I don't know what about it makes. I'm not normally competitive or even into fighting games that much. And when I do play fighting games, don't feel competitive about it. But Smash Brothers is like, for some reason, if someone demolishes you over and over and over, it's bad. It's like, it makes you feel like you are a failure at video games, or there's something about it that, like GoldenEye, everyone remembers exactly what the rule set that their group did and allowed, how everyone felt about, in Smash Brothers, for example, guarding the edge once you knock someone off.
Yeah.
Or different things like, I mean, because this game is played competitively in tournament style now. There's things like the jiggling controversy going on right now with ice climbers. Like there's combos you can do that obviously the programmers didn't intend that are technically unstoppable if you just do it correct. So it's interesting. It's as far as anything in gaming can. I think Smash Brothers, because GoldenEye sort of died out as a franchise, is the closest thing to a professional sport. Like if they were going to put a video game in the Olympics, I think it would be Smash Brothers. And we can argue very fiercely, I hope we do.
We will.
About which Smash Brothers. But
also whether that's really the most
sure
combative thing.
Oh, yeah. I just mean it is a lot. I don't care if you can think of a better example. It might be Halo. But yeah, I just think it's interesting how Smash Brothers has transcended gaming to almost become like a sport where you still just sit still. But and yeah, I'll save everything else for Game On. Player 2.
Yeah. I don't know that this Smash Brothers is like in any way better than like the second and on. I thought I liked this one. I thought it was good. I liked the cast they had. I like that there's more. I'll never get tired of the fact that there's more. I like that it's more Nintendo in like inside baseball than any of the previous ones. I don't know that that makes it any better because to me there's a third man aspect to Smash Brothers where you play it for the first time and like that is like a really defining, like your first run through of a Smash Brothers is a defining video game experience. And this is not that for me. If it's anybody's first Smash Brothers, they had a fantastic time because it's a great game. There's nothing wrong with it. I think Smash Brothers might be the best entry level video game of the fighting genre.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so there's a bunch of different games in that genre and none of them are as simple or intuitive.
Yeah, they're not as accessible.
Yes, and also it's because it's drawing on so many video game franchises, everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
Like this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of fighting games. And it was the first game like that, actually. So it has kind of a significant, like it's significant in that way, that it's kind of an archive for at least all of Nintendo's history, but a little bit just other places' history now too. Like Crash Bandicoot's on this game now, and like fucking Solid Snake's on this game. Like there's just a bunch of like, oh really?
A lot of Pokemon entities.
Well, Pokemon's a Nintendo property,
Nintendo.
but like Cloud is on this game. There's like it's starting to become like just all video game characters.
There's a bit
here.
of a tradition. Soul Calibur had Yoda and Darth Vader and shit.
But not
And
not
Tekken
famous
characters.
other video game characters.
Well, they had the guy from Tekken. But,
Yeah.
True, they had the guy from Tekken.
but it's much more
interesting.
Nintendo has gone much further afield.
Like, would it be that surprising to anybody here if like the next Smash Brothers has Master Chief in it,
No.
or like has
Dr. Phil, dude.
Yeah, or has Nathan Drake?
I want an alternate yoga
You know?
trainer character that's Dr. Phil
Yeah. Actually-
asking Jigglypuff, how's that working out for you?
I'm gonna finish my rant before I let
Yeah,
you guys.
please.
But but these are things I think are interesting. The other thing that's really interesting to me about this game is the fact that it creates such a frenzy. Like one of my favorite videos in 2018 period was when they announced this game at the Nintendo in New York. Like they have like a Nintendo store in New York.
Yeah.
And it was just like all 25-year-olds who lost their goddamn mind watching this game get announced. It's one of my favorite things because
It's pure joy.
it's so great, yes. And it's also Nintendo has been having such a great comeback, and this to me is one of the big punches of that comeback. Just like, here we go, motherfuckers. It's Smash Brothers, and it's really good, and nobody was expecting it, and it's awesome. So that part's cool. This is a game that's about being a Nintendo fanboy, so if you're not a Nintendo fanboy, I just kind of wonder if you love it as much as anybody who loves Nintendo does. I don't know the answer to that.
Although, as it has been pointed out, that teaser release video was essentially Mario coming upon two small children and just beating the shit out
Yes,
of them.
it was like a
Which is
eyeless
great
Mario
out of
cloaked in
context.
darkness, beating these squid children to death.
Someone who doesn't know what Nintendo
Yeah.
is would be like, middle-aged man beating children.
Yeah.
Why is everyone so excited?
Hell yeah.
so I when we get into the general conversation, I want to make sure that we have some conversation about how does this stack up to other fighting games for fighting mechanics.
Yeah.
Because I might argue it's better. I might argue it's better at
But
what
you might
fighting is
not?
about. No, I
You
might.
don't
I just
know
want to
what
see how
you're
you're going to come
gonna
at me with
say.
this. Anyway, that's it for now. Also, Captain Falcon's the best.
I mean, we're going to have a conversation about that. We're definitely going to have a conversation
Falcon.
about that. I loved what you said about it being a comeback for Nintendo because I have been bitter at most gaming media since the GameCube. Because Melee was my first Smash. That was huge for me. And it was around that time that I remember like Time Magazine called the GameCube like an unmitigated disaster.
That sounds like something they would say.
That's not a controller that we still use to this day. But this current game, I loved watching all of the publicity up into it, like a lot of the videos up to it, because I didn't understand sports drafts for the longest time. Like why people would like watch a football draft or something like that and get excited. And then getting caught up in myself in like character after character being added. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's like when a player you really like comes onto your team.
We got ice climbers, motherfucker. We got him.
Where I found myself like running around my apartment like, Ripley's coming to the game.
Wait, is she? Ellen Ripley?
Ridley.
Ridley.
Okay, because I was like, Ripley's.
Yeah, I said Ripley in my brain because I was literally just watching Aliens this morning.
Ripley was
you just having a great day.
I'm having a great day.
Yeah,
I got very stoned and watched Aliens this morning. Ripley's coming to the game. But this specific one, it took me a second to get used to like the gameplay of when it came to adding like the cards and some of the element stuff, and it made it a little bit more confusing, even though I had played it for an eternity already. So I will say that had a little bit of a learning curve for it to me, but it is the most accessible of the ones out there. Like my brother doesn't understand the games that he is actively playing, but he can tell you, oh, Meta Knight was overpowered in Melee. Like these are ones where you can walk into a room and start a conversation about it, and every single person knows to jump in with, this is what my character is. This is the one I hate going up against. And of all the fighting games that I personally own, like Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat, any of these, even just learning combinations is far more easy and intuitive,
and way less complicated.
Because even as someone that would like memorize combinations at an arcade, I still have trouble when I jump back into Soul Calibur remembering a lot of these combinations that would essentially make it easy for me to actually like just play the game in an enjoyable way and not just get murked over and over again. Although
love murked, love it.
Like Swain was saying, there's a special bitterness that I get to this game when I keep getting dominated over and over again that I do not get with anything else.
Yep, you love it more.
I think it's because I love it more, because it's the same deal with Mario Kart, and these are the ones that have actually like put thought into how to play it better.
It's interesting. I don't care if I lose a Mario Kart at all. It for some reason.
It sticks with
Smash
me.
Brothers.
How many times have you been spiny shelled right when you're about to win?
Man, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, but to me, Mario Kart feels like literally a children's game. I don't know why Smash Brothers doesn't, but it's like,
it's a little more
who
violent.
cares who wins? We're just playing bowls on the lawn, whereas Smash Brothers feels like serious business.
See, I don't even think
determine who's better.
I don't even think it's the violent element either, because Mario Party makes me way more angry
and
than
Mario
any
Party,
of these games.
The winner is essentially random.
Yes,
based like there's too many randomized factors in that game.
I think the reason for Smash is I feel like there's a cap where once you get to like a certain level of good, it's like a One Punch Man scenario where it's like there's no more competition for either of us here. What are we even doing here?
Yeah.
Because there's been people in my life where they're like so good at it, it just kind of kills any joy in us playing, because it's like, we know how this is going to end. It's going to end the way it always ends.
You're going to nest bat me out into the fucking moon.
All
Congratulations.
right, I'm calling it. Checkpoint, game on. Continue.
Does anybody think this is not the best fighting game series?
Wait, as a series,
yeah.
you're talking about
as a franchise.
Ultimate in terms of... Well, first, what's everyone's peak? Yours is Melee?
Yeah.
I think mine is Melee, but Abe would want me to transmit to the audience that if he were here, the only things he would say are that edge guarding is bullshit, and that Brawl is the only worthwhile one to play, and you have to play no items and do the one-on-one dance. That's all.
Sure.
That Smash Brothers is.
That's like GoldenEye. You have to play with slappers only, or one shot, or license to kill.
Right,
It's everybody's got a lineup. I also prefer Melee, but that's because it was the first one I played. I think this game is objectively better.
I was heavily into Brawl, but I just think Melee still continued the improvement trajectory, and then after that they started getting floatier and floatier, and that's what everyone talks about is like
100%.
you have
Yes.
there's a certain level of floatiness in the physics, because the fundamental difference between this fighting game and all other fighting games is that because they, I think, didn't want to even imply that these characters knock each other unconscious. The only way to lose is to disappear, to like go out of frame.
Knocked
That's
out of
right.
frame.
That's
Yeah.
unique about this game.
Yeah,
and I
'cause-
think because of that, they were like, so floatiness has to be an aspect of the physics.
Yeah.
No other fighting game. Like fighting games are very grounded on the ground, and
Yeah.
like the combos are like like tight, and
It's like punching meat.
It feels. I would call it a fully unique fighting game. It doesn't feel like
It is
any other
unique.
fighting game at all. So I don't know how to compare it.
So, I've
Soul
been thinking about
Calibur is
this.
my favorite fighting game series generally.
If
if I just had to pick one.
I've been thinking about this. So like, I mean, I think Street Fighter 2, you have to say, is like, that's like probably Mecca. I
Yeah.
mean, that's probably number one.
In terms of popularizing the genre, yeah.
Yeah, nobody would like. It wasn't
But
a
if you
household
go back and
genre.
try to play it now, it is clunky, like old games are. It's pretty
yeah,
dated.
it's you can still play it. I played it a while back. Maybe
I
I played
played
an
it back
updated
to back
version.
with Mortal Kombat 11, and it's like,
Well,
we've come
sure.
a long way, baby,
Sure,
in
sure.
terms of
Yeah.
responsiveness and
Yeah.
smoothness and things.
I think Street Fighter 2 represents a moment where fighting games had to diverge. So like some games went into the combo zone where it's like Tekken,
The
right? Where
combo
it's like
zone.
super combo where you just have to like it's about lacing punches and kicks together in the
Yeah.
right order.
Yeah, like Vanessa said, a memorized
Yeah.
sequence. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what most fighting games are about now.
Yeah.
Including Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat
certainly.
11 is more that than any of
That's
the Mortal
why
Kombat.
I
Yeah.
like Soul Calibur, because even though it has that, I feel like it had a different episode.
No, but that's
No,
a good
but I
it
get
has
what you
the
mean.
dual component where it also invented stepping around always beats a vertical attack, horizontal attacks always lose to a vertical attack, and vertical attacks always lose to being stepped around or whatever.
Even
They
if you don't
created
know
a rock
that.
paper scissors element
Yeah.
that makes it like you're continuously combos. Like my main is Ivy in Soul Calibur, and I agree.
My main is Ivy
Nice.
too.
If you haven't played for a while and you go back, you're like, I want to stab through the ground and the thing comes up. What the fuck is that again? And what's great about Smash Brothers is there's none of that. And that's they obviously want to make it as accessible as possible. And it worked. That is delightful that you can sit down and go, well, it's every character has an up type special move, a right, a left,
Yeah.
and a down. And you play a new character and you're like, let me fuck around for 10 seconds? Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see how they work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, anybody could jump in and start going in. The only time they get confused is when they're just like, what the fuck is that floating around the screen? And it's like, oh, you
Well,
have to punch that, and then something big happens.
That's the other aspect that is, I actually don't think this game, well, as someone who, so it's highly competitive. A lot of people seem to agree, or a lot of gamers I know agree with the sensation that we have where it's like, that is a game where I get butthurt if I lose too thoroughly over and over and over. It is like frustrating.
Why do you think?
That's what I don't know exactly why, but
I got some opinions.
Oh, nice.
I got
I
a
want to
few.
hear those after, if I could wrap up just this.
Yeah, you bet.
The thought would, it might be gone. No, it's that I think a glaring weak spot in the game that people don't really like to talk about is, so in that type of game is, it feels real. It feels like it's actually judging skill or who sank the most hours into getting good at this. Therefore, the fact that if you add even 3 or 4 players or turn on any items, I think the amount of chaos and randomness that infests sort of the purity, to use Abe's phrase, of the test of skill is way off the charts. Like almost every
Sure.
item fucks with the game so much that I understand why most people end up doing one-on-one matches with no
Yeah.
items. Because
Yeah.
it's like, every time I'm trying to figure out what is a useful strategy, a tomato hits me in the head in the middle of a jump and I just randomly fall and they grab me.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Where bees can be an element of the
Right.
game, or
And they keep getting more and more and more to where it's
I
like...
hate the bees. Yeah. Oh boy.
not the bees.
And that's why I guess I don't feel that competitive in Mario Kart, because you can't really turn off items unless they have that mode, and I'm not aware. And Spiky Shell feels like, oh, well, this game is designed to keep tension high so that the person in back always gets the best items. Therefore, I'm not going to take it that seriously if there's a big upset, because the game is designed to encourage upsets. Whereas Smash Brothers feels like if you turn off all the items, 2-man enter, 1-man leave.
Yeah.
Who's better at
It's funny that you
Smash
say that
Brothers?
because literally every fighting game is exactly that. I think the items and the floatiness.
Until you add tons of items and
Well,
shit.
right, but that's one of Nintendo's things, right? Is that they're not afraid to make the game arbitrary. And like no other game system really does that with those genres, and they both are massively successful with people because of it. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I would say other fighting games try to pretend that, look, we know this is going to be used in a tournament context. There have to be rules like a sport. It has to be streamlined.
Yeah.
Things can't be overpowered, or if they are, we have to fix it and find balance. And
aware
shit.
of it.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on was in terms of like the combo thing that we were talking about, it really does feel the most like an extension of skill to where if you don't actually know the combo, you can jump in and be like, this is this arm, this is this arm, this is this like
yeah.
We're even without knowing combos, you could actually hold your own pretty well if
for sure
if you like have an idea of like a tactical fighting style that you want to go in. But the floatiness is something I have noticed get more and more light and airy over time, because I remember with Melee,
I thought Ultimate was pulled back slightly a step from the last iteration. Do you agree?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
I'm like, I feel like they reversed course back to a better direction.
Melee, I flew off like a bag of laundry.
Yeah.
And as it got progressively floatier, it was like kicking a feather on a sidewalk where I couldn't quite figure out where I was ever going to land.
The beginning of Forrest Gump. Yeah. Meta Knight would just like feather around.
One thing I noticed about the competition aspect is, it's really infuriating when you keep getting murked by the same person. But I've also noticed there's this level where someone is so good, it's almost like this King Midas kind of misery.
Yeah.
Where they can't really find anyone willing to play with them anymore. I've met like a few of these folks where they've gotten to a level of good where they can't really, unless they play online, have an enjoyable game with someone else. And it's not even like they're trying to be like, I'm going to constantly murk you. It's like, just please play with me. But everyone has such an adverse reaction to getting murked by the same person over and over that they just shut off. So there's just these lonely wanderers on the internet.
These Ronin. These Smash Brothers Ronin.
Also, I feel like that does come from what Adam was talking about with Nintendo having... They just want it to be fun. So, like, in other fighting games, if everyone was like, Voldo is way overpowered, they'd go, yeah, that's a problem. We'll try and correct that through a DLC, or we'll fix it for the next iteration. I feel like Nintendo's attitude... Because this happens with the different iterations, that through tournament play, people churn millions of these rounds, and everyone will figure out, in this iteration of Smash Brothers, Captain Falcon's inarguably the best because you can do this, and it's slightly overpowered statistically versus everyone else.
Yeah.
And Nintendo won't be like, we're sorry. They'll be like, then play with Captain Falcon if that's the most fun. When you get bored of that, play as someone else.
Why don't you try Kirby?
They do a little bit of patch rebalancing.
A little bit, but they seem less obsessive about it. And they're way more willing. They don't treat it like it's on a pedestal. They're like, no, this time we threw in all these fucking spirit cards. And, at one point someone was like, what about a giant dog CG that blocks the screen? And you're like, why the fuck not? And it's like other fighting games that I feel like would be like, because... That breaks the formula, but Nintendo doesn't care as much, and I think because of that, there is a level of exploitative play that can work. So like I alluded to the jiggling thing, which is a current technique. Someone discovered that if you separate the two ice climbers and do this particular thing, there's like a 0 frame reaction. It's literally physically you cannot get out of it as long as the person's executing it successfully over and over. And people are like, we shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I just think the fact that exploits can be discovered in the ecosystem of Melee or of Smash makes it that there's such a wide swing of skill that people who play it, quote, professionally, you cannot even interact with them in the game. It's not worth either of your time.
Smash Ronin.
It's not fun it's Smash Ronin.
It's like the tradition in Chinese film of fighters whose chi is so high that they haven't fought in 50 years because they're like, there's just no one that's worthy to fight. It breaks my heart. I wander around looking for someone worthy to fight me.
When I took my one semester of Taekwondo in college, which I did, the instructor gave that lesson that you get, I think, at the beginning of every martial arts class about the man who became an 8th degree black belt.
Yeah.
And every year at the park, he was like a robber would come and like try to beat him up, and then Like he'd get his ass kicked every single time. And then finally, when he achieved his 8th degree of black belt, the robber shows up again and he's like, "Take my money, sir. It's better that you have my money than what I would do to you if you attacked me." That's what these Smash Brothers Ronin need to become.
Then the
they need to
robbers-
become these enlightened men giving their
Unleash
Smash
Pikachu.
away.
Honest, like, my ex was so good at Smash. It came to a point where he'd be like, "Do you want to play?" And then I would just get like this sad,
Yeah.
hello. He won.
He won when we were playing. I
Like,
remember.
We're
he
still-
was number one that night.
Oh yeah.
We're still friends.
Yeah.
But I gave him the Switch in the breakup because I was like, you know
dang.
why I'm giving you this. Like, there's been
You
enough
won
ti-
it. Yeah,
We
you
won
shamed-
it.
Times?
You shamed it off of me.
We've had some good times, but also I know this is in the peasant hands if it stays with me. Like, it's not going to reach its full
Seen the Quick
potential
and the
with
Dead?
me.
Yeah.
I
These
love
aren't
that
a
shit.
Smash player's hands.
These aren't a Smash
These is farmer's hands. Get out of my store.
This is the soft hands of a woman that's going to play Psychonauts for the 5th time
Yeah.
instead of like shaming myself on Smash, knowing like I'm never going to get to that level. So like I was just like, take this, and he was like,
If you-
I'm positive it deserves to be with you.
If
Don't
Adam
put
doesn't-
stipulations. Don't
if
you
don't
dare
wanna
put
finish
stipulations.
Psychonauts, Vanessa can guest host that episode.
No, you're not kicking me off the podcast.
Well, I was like,
under
wait,
any circumstances.
It's my favorite game. I've been trying to cover it forever. And he's like, I think I'm almost done with it. And hasn't even been in the milkman's head.
What?
I'm like, no, you're not even close, dude.
That's
I'm not
barely
taking shame right now for this game. That's not happening.
I mean-
like, I'm just letting you know that's not happening.
Yeah. It's a
not
good
even
game.
in the milkman's head. That's barely skimming the surface.
Oh, skimming. You're only
Skim milk.
like 2% in.
Let's you guys. Why don't you give each other
No.
high fives for a little while? Go ahead and give each other some high fives. I'll watch you.
Look, I'm doing it.
So it basically, but yeah, it's. Did you have more concrete theories about why all
I do.
gamers recognize that being trounced in Smash is especially humiliating?
I do.
Yeah.
I
So
wanna hear
okay.
them.
So what do we viscerally enjoy about fighting games? Like, why do we like them so much? It's competition. That's
Yeah.
number one.
It varies slightly from game to game. Like in Mortal Kombat, in the later iterations,
Yeah.
it's doing the right sequence just to see the animation of
Yeah.
the crazy gore.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like look at all the fucking shit I did to
And
you,
Marvel
bro.
vs. Capcom, same deal. It's just fill in that bar because I want to see Spider-Man do his Ultra Spider-Man
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, and then
And
Soul
epic
Calibur
damage,
is just
right?
like technical brain. It's not
Yeah.
even so much competition for me. It's just how much technicality can I put into this?
Yeah.
See, I would argue, and I'm sure people are
Flow
going to disagree
in Soul
with me.
Calibur, linking as long as you can.
I would argue that Smash Brothers delivers the fundamental experience of a fight game better because the reward for a great punch in Smash Brothers is to knock your opponent the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like like you're hitting a home run. You're literally hitting a home run when you
With
like
a
knock
person.
somebody off.
Especially if you're
with a
mass.
human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're hitting them out of the park, and it happens so fast, and it's so like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Also,
and
isn't-
that's such a good feeling. Every time you knock a
That's
person
true.
off, it's like, yes, I fucking did that to you. It's
And
Yeah.
so good.
Isn't the implication of Master Hand that there's a very fancy child playing with
Yeah.
these dolls?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume because he wears gloves.
A dapper
it's the
child.
way-
He doesn't want his dolls to get. They're in mint condition.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Even
so,
Crazy Hands doesn't
He doesn't
take the
mix
glove
his
off.
this
gamer
kid
gloves with his
plays by-
sandwich
Oh,
gloves.
that's right. There's also a mentally ill hand in this
Yeah,
game.
he's very silly.
What?
Yeah, you didn't play with Silly Hand or what? Crazy
Crazy
Oh,
Hand.
Hand.
that-
Crazy hand.
I didn't know. I was just like, oh, that's the party hand.
We're all making spider hands with our hands. People
Yeah, you're
can't
watching
see
me
us.
do it, but it's not really helping anything.
Crazy
Yeah.
hand, you know,
Yeah,
the
Crazy Hand.
the
The guy
James McAvoy hand.
Yeah,
that
he
can
really
play
is.
lots
I mean,
of
I feel like if
different-
anybody could do crazy hand,
Oh my god, stop it.
it's gross.
She like literally when she was giving Mike high fives, her arm just undulated like it was like made of jello.
I'm a pool noodle.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
you
I think
are.
the visceral experience of knocking somebody out is more rewarding than any other thing other than a fatality in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That's the most rewarding thing there is.
But the majority of Mortal Kombat, like you said, matches end with you strike them, and because their bar is complete, they start wobbling on
Yes,
their feet.
and they give
you're
you a
like,
chance.
That is way viscerally less immediate endorphin rush than I touched you, so you disappear.
Yeah.
I landed
Instantly.
my move
Yeah.
just the right time and
I-
you're
Soul
out.
Calibur's also, they just kind of fall over.
I do also have a theory.
Okay.
Because I also, when I think of fighting games, I also think about the watching element. Because most fighting games is not sometimes it's just you and one person. Other times, like when we played it, it's a whole party.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like Mortal Kombat, that's one where like a couple people watch if they like really want to see like the gory fatalities, like you were mentioning. Soul Calibur and a lot of these other games, I feel like unless you're really into fighting games, they're not as fun to watch while you're on standby while waiting to play.
Yeah.
Smash Brothers, even if you don't play a fighting game, is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Both the fighting style and the actual people that are fighting, that you're not really thinking about, I'm not playing a game. You're thinking, oh, we're all in this. We're all watching this. It has the fun of like watching a Karate Kid typed fight where it's like, oh, everything's kind of silly and a little bit more for all of us, as opposed to like watching Rocky where it's like that guy's getting murked. And the chaos element of the items
Yeah. That's
makes
pretty
it
good.
so much more engaging for somebody on the outside to be like, oh, tag me in next.
It is designed to be watched, because unlike the other games you mentioned, those games you're tighter to the fighter, right? So you're literally immersed more.
You're just on the actual fighter.
Yes, this game you're on the level, which is the thing. As an audience, we're trained to observe games like Donkey Kong or like the original Mario Brothers, and like sort of watch and go, oh man, you're gonna miss that barrel. Oh shit, you're gonna get that coin.
Yeah.
Like we're trained to absorb it as spectators, and this game's designed visually like that.
And I know based on copy and advertising around these games historically, and a couple interviews with Nintendo people, that's one of the core things that they see as innovative, which is funny because it is innovative, and I realize it's not in other fighting games, but you don't even notice. It's so natural, is that they introduced light platforming to fighting.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's the only fighting game where suddenly there's a bullet bill, you have to dodge it, or there's consequences. Other fighting games will have items that cause areas to become electrified or whatever, but this actually has segments, especially, like the boat level where you're on the magic cart, or the boat at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to do a little Mario level or you'll get left behind and lose, then continue fighting.
Or the racing ones
I
where
don't
it's just
know
like...
I would argue it actually evens
If
the
that's
playing
a
field a little
huge
bit.
improvement, but it
Well,
is different.
Yeah.
It's true that that's unlike other fighting games.
Like everything else, it's
I don't
part
even
of
know
their.
if I like that about it.
I do.
'Cause
Like
my
everything
group-
else, it's
I do.
part of their heritage,
My
right?
group always ultimately ended up playing Hyrule Castle because it has the least platforming elements, no items, one-on-one. And that's just the environment in
you
which
did it.
I was raised.
Okay.
So it's what I know.
Oh, we were a big Yoshi Island group.
Well, okay, so the fact that they introduced platforming
To fighting.
is part of the archival history of this game, which is the second most important thing about it.
Yeah.
The first is that it's fun. The second is that it's a Nintendo archive. The second thing is that platforming means that it's harder for somebody to dominate another person because an element of chaos resets the dynamic a little bit, which is exactly what it does in Mario Kart 2, right? Like, you get better items when you're further back in that, like when you're closer to 8th or 12th or whatever, you get the star and you get the spiny shell. So Nintendo will throw chaotic elements to sort of even the playing field out so that you don't get dominated, and I
Yeah.
think that makes people want to play it more also.
And ironically, then they play it so much that no amount of programming can
Sure.
overcome how
course.
dominant they become at the game. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's the King Midas thing.
Yeah.
It's walking around realizing that everything you touch turns to KO'd.
Yeah.
Well, it's any of these games like Fortnite. It actually is inspirational in a way, and sad because it has some aspects of addiction. But I do think it's inspirational whenever you're like I think the free solo guy's stupid, and I wouldn't do that. But it's impressive the human body can do that.
Yeah.
It's impressive that these games like Fortnite and Smash and GoldenEye that have a moment of being the Beatles of gaming, are like everyone's doing it. You necessarily end up with a pool of people who treat it like a job and become so skilled that it's like a magic trick. It's
That's
like
true.
anything taken to an ultimate degree becomes like, well, that's pretty impressive just on a raw level of being extreme. I didn't think you could be that good at Smash Brothers, but lots of people are.
Yep.
Because
And-
at this point, hundreds of people have spent thousands and thousands of hours.
Of course.
doing
And
it.
yet, it's the opposite experience of being amazing at Fortnite or like some other game like that, where those people aren't sad. They're not Ronin, like without a
no.
master.
Yeah.
Whereas Smash
They're
Brothers, it
teabagging
is
people
social.
and
Yeah.
screaming.
Right,
yeah.
it is social. So like when you get good enough at Smash Brothers, you've lost the thing you loved.
Yeah.
You loved it too much, and therefore you lost it. Like, that's not true of
Unless-
the dick that's good at Fortnite.
Exactly.
You have to have a friend who's just as dedicated in this keeping up with your growth as a Smash player.
And then just marry that fucking person. Just like,
'Cause
Pretty
get in there.
much.
Yeah, get in there and do it.
Like, it's weird, but I remember when I like started dating again, my mom being like, find somebody on like your same kind of schedule and your same wavelength. And I didn't think that in my head I'd also be like, I should probably also make sure that I look out for someone that I can like enjoy a fighting game with.
Who was his main usually?
It didn't matter. Like his main was
Incineroar.
it was no, on the most recent one it was Kirby, just to make
Sure.
a point.
Kirby's great.
See, you need a Sheik player, I think, in your next partner. Just look
Sheik?
for a
Yeah,
Sheik player.
The thing is,
Interesting.
it truly didn't matter
That's some
who
horoscope
he
shit
was.
right there.
Like
Yeah.
he could be like Wii Fitness trainer.
Yeah.
And I can like pick something overpowered and we'll just make it the craziest level, tons of
Right,
items,
right.
something constantly shifting.
Nothing could help.
And the amount of times where I'm like, I've touched my controller twice. I tried to jump out of the way and then
So I think that's another thing is all fighting games run afoul of this, but a very frustrating thing I think for any gamer is a long sequence where you feel like you're not doing any input that affects anything in
Yeah.
the game. And I would say that's actually a knock against Smash is you will get caught in there's something also uniquely frustrating about like a bumper appeared in space from nowhere right behind where I was just being thrown. So now they're just hitting me bumper, and there's literally nothing I can do for 4 seconds. Those 4 seconds are like, why do I even play this game?
Yeah, they are eternal. They are a kind of
You're
nihilistic
like,
eternity.
dude, let me
Yeah.
stand up. Dude, just let me stand up, okay? No, we'll fight. You can win. Just let me fucking stand
just
up
let
for
me
a
stand.
second.
Just let me
All right?
move. Just let me throw one Pokeball just to feel like I had a chance at any point.
Goldine. And you're like, fuck.
Yep.
That was my one Pokeball.
At the amount of times where I'd be like, man, I'm going to throw this Pokeball and it's going to be a thing where I can at least get to the side and maybe
Gonna
grab like
even
a
shit
fire
out.
flower
My
or
life will
something.
be on track.
And then it's just like, it's a Wobbuffet. It's just
Pokemon's fucking dumb.
It's just a
because of
doofus.
that. Yeah, just
it's
because of
just
that
a shit. It's
Yeah.
just a human shit inside the Pokeball. Why?
That's another. It's like the Pokemon phenomenon in Smash Ultimate is just a slot machine.
yeah.
The
You know?
Pokemon phenomenon.
It's
Yeah.
how I imagine it would be if a human actually fell into a relationship with a mermaid where it's just like, it doesn't work. It doesn't line up. It's never going to happen.
I mean, even Shape of Water didn't convince me it could work. Did you see Shape of Water?
I did see Shape of Water. I mean, she did open up her hands and then make
She
a
did a
little
whole
pokey.
thing. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, she signed
There was a
Cloaca.
sheath. Yeah.
I thought
she
it was.
implied there was a sheath.
Yeah.
and
I
like
thought
some
she
sort of a
was
groin pouch.
cooking
you know?
her own eggs, and he was gonna become impregnated by eating all of her eggs.
Oh yeah, that's how that's how
like reverse fish birth situation.
I liked your explanation / bit better than anything about that movie. So I wish that was what it was.
The lighting and costume design and hair and makeup was all pretty on point.
It was
I thought.
fine. It was
and
good.
the story
No, it was very
was
good.
really
Yeah.
boring to me.
Didn't
but
care.
That's not what this is about.
No, this is about
I want to spend a little time talking about Ultimate,
Of course,
specifically
yeah.
in relation to just
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of the ones.
Simon Belmont. Finally, Castlevania's back.
So very clearly, Ultimate is called Ultimate, I think, in deference to the fact that they were like, what if we, by definition, included everything that's ever been included in any Smash Brothers?
Which
And that was
they
our
have to
angle
do.
this time.
yeah.
But not every Smash Brothers has always done that retroactively.
Really? I
but
thought it was always an
is
expansion.
it in? But even every mode, like I don't know. I do think there's an ultimate. There's an ultimateness about Ultimate
For sure.
It
Yeah.
is by far the largest compendium. So, because it's a game that everyone views positively, and I think we all do as well. I'm going to start with my knocks, which are.
Yeah.
I actually did think there was a point where you can have too many characters that have the same moves that feel like filler, like for the sake of thoroughness, and then thoroughness with no meaning is weird to me. So, for example, I collected like every card, and this card system was so
boy.
complex and immersive. All these like trading souls and saving up to buy other souls, spending time sensitive, like sending some of your card characters into the mine to get more card characters and soul points. It never seemed to affect the game enough to carry its own weight as a system. And then at the end of the day, I was like, the point of this is the joy of archival.
Yeah.
And there were dozens and dozens and dozens of cards that I was like, I wonder what that is.
Right.
And there was no way to find out. I was like, the least they could do is have 2 sentences about what that is. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's the Destiny problem, right?
Hundreds of
Just
the
too much
cards, I
lore.
would be like,
It's exactly the Destiny
that's
problem.
just that's an 8-pixel drawing of like a guy doing the thumbs up. What does
What
that
does he
from
do?
or commemorate to you? What is that? Yeah.
I mean, I think they assume either you already care or that you'll Google it, right? I mean, like, and I don't know if that's a true assumption.
Sure. There were some I literally Googled and never found it. And it's like, it must be a game they made in Japanese arcades before they even, or whatever.
Yeah, but also, I don't want to Google.
I don't
I
care.
want it in
Yeah.
the same place. And I
That's
think that would have been
agreed.
a really nice element as well to be like, hey, this is this giant homage we did to our entire library. Why not tell me what it is? Then I can actually form like more of an actual connection to it and
Sure.
be like, cool, I'm actually really learning something about like this entire like gaming history that I didn't know about.
Link me to that Excel spreadsheet that you're definitely keeping.
Yeah, exactly.
Can
Yeah.
we do that? Yeah.
I'm gonna go on record and say I hated the card system.
Ooh, hate it. Hate it.
The whole map, the story mode is pretty endlessly interminable. And
It
yet
does
I
go
remember
on and on,
while
yeah.
I was doing it, I was appreciative that because I don't have a bunch of like I'm not good enough at Smash to play with other humans, and I get upset.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, good. There's a lot of content for me to like hone my skills through
Yeah.
before I have to go out and play with my friends. So I appreciate it was long, so maybe I'm being like uncharitable. But in retrospect, I'm like, it was so long though.
It was really
seemed
long.
so long.
It was so long and it was so overcomplicated. And usually when I play the story of a fighting game, I very much think of it as like Dread. Just like fighting my way through levels. Just, all right, this is the next boss and this is the next boss and so on and so forth. And then it either just auto loads or kind of like Brawl where it's just like you move like a game piece
Yes.
Yeah.
forward slowly. And once it added more elements, I was like, I have other games to do that for me. This is just putting more time in me just wanting to just hammer through the way I do with a fighting game. And the card element almost took away some of the accessibility of it for me.
See, I think it's interesting because every game is now under the burden to be a game you play forever.
Yeah.
And that's how Smash Brothers chose to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And like, I think all of us, because we're old, are going to say, just don't be a game you play forever. Just, you know what I mean? Like, let me
Yeah.
pay $60 and not have a 70-hour solo campaign.
Versus like,
But they're going to be like, dude, no.
yeah.
We have to do this. How else are you going to buy the DLC?
Yeah.
Like,
and
will you
it's
buy
a different
Banjo-Kazooie?
generation.
I know. It's brutal. Here's another way I knew I was old. I was like, there's about 3 too many Pokemon characters in the fighting roster. Like, and I know I'm
Yeah.
old. I get it. And I missed Pokemon.
Yeah.
But there's so many. And
I
like,
agree.
I just think, like...
And Fire Emblem is too much.
yeah,
too.
I just
don't
feel
need
like
it, man.
those things are... Like, if you have 1 or 2 major representatives, you did it.
Yeah.
And, like, I would rather see other games... Or
Yeah.
just other ideas incorporate, like a Contra guy,
And because
or anything,
people, because of that skill broad range we talked about, like, yes, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who, when I say this, are going to respond
Lose
correctly.
their
I
mind.
could kick your ass with that character.
Of course.
But Greninja felt like such a fucking shitty
No
addition,
thanks.
for example.
Pass.
Yeah.
Even Incineroar, who fights for us now, I could have done without.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's like 6, maybe there's like 4 Pokemon. They're like, sure, Pikachu, yes, I get it. Jigglypuff, I
Yeah.
get it. Charizard and Charmander and like that whole the trio.
But Pichu,
sure,
Raichu,
Mewtwo, I get it.
Pichu was another one where I was just kind of like, Pichu is basically Pikachu, but you hurt yourself.
Well, but that's also
Dumb.
They have this
Yeah.
weird tradition of like Link and Young Link. They add
Get rid of
random
that, too.
characters that are
Yeah.
just lighter and weaker and faster, though.
Yeah.
than the big one.
I'm not. To me, it's like Link should be a skin. Young Link and like middle Link.
But you don't think they
Yeah.
should be
be a
different
skin.
weights
No.
and speeds?
Why should they?
No, because I think there's other characters for that.
Yeah.
There are other
Yeah.
characters for different
Yeah.
weights and speeds. And
I would miss Falco, but
Yeah.
I get the impulse.
Yeah. I like Falco is such an asshole.
And who's the fucking blonde version of Ness?
Oh, Lucas.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can go.
I didn't
Eat a
see. Yeah, that's
chode.
just more. Again, that's just more of the same game.
Yeah.
Shulk.
Like, I don't mind that they reskin fighting types. Like, I don't mind the Ganondorf and Captain Falcon are basically
Yeah.
the same. I'm fine with that.
But when it's in
Ganondorf
the
should be
same
in the game.
universe,
Yeah.
it feels like I'm
Yeah.
just getting the same thing in Groucho Marx classes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't want.
We get a fair
that.
bit of that, but I think to be fair, on the other side, Ultimate they did also, as Nintendo often does, they weren't scared to innovate with new. There were a lot of characters that fucked with the rhythm and the pacing and the way,
For sure.
like
Villager.
Little Mac, Villager.
Yep.
Like they added a lot of
Ryu and Ken. Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
they
was
had,
cool.
They had
That
a
was
lot
really
of
dope.
characters who have Duck Hunt, who have unique ways of
Yeah.
interacting with the game.
Duck Hunt
Pac-Man.
was fascinating.
So they're not scared to do that. Yeah, I like that they'll add characters where you're like, you don't even interact with the world in the way the other characters do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you win? Yeah.
I thought Cloud was hard to play with.
Yeah.
Like that seemed just challenging. To me.
Ridley did seem like the most
Love
of all
Ridley.
the new people where I could just dive in and like own with
Simon
Ridley
Belmont.
seems
Yeah.
very good.
Simon
yeah,
Belmont was
Simon and
really good.
Richter were good.
Yeah.
I
Ridley-
thought Pac-Man was fucking great.
You
Way
loved
better than I
Pac-Man.
expected Pac-Man to be.
Ridley and Pac-Man were an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Villager was a fun one to figure out why are you good. Because the
Yeah.
first time I played Villager, I was like, a lot of these attacks feel kind of frivolous and silly. And then it took me a second to realize, like, oh, long range and being very strategic about where my enemy was going to fall.
planting the tree at the right
and planting the
times.
tree at the
Yeah.
right time. I started really liking playing as Villager whenever I wanted to like put more of a thought element into something. Whenever I wanted to like pull away from some of the
Interesting.
mindless stuff and think
The
more about
Villager
like
is a thought.
I've
It's a-
never,
it's a
I've
big
never
thought-based
played
one.
enough Villager to
THOT,
think of that. Yeah,
it's very much like trap setting. Like
Oh,
what I like
Thoughts
to
set traps.
yeah.
It makes sense.
Thought set traps. I can't do bling bling. Window shutdown
Deep,
noise.
That's acceptable.
Blue lulu.
You'll be getting a cease and desist from my
Dang
legal
it.
counsel.
But yeah, like Villager felt like when I was playing the trap based parts of BioShock, where it was like really thinking about what my enemy's style was like, where it's like, oh, they really like high kicks. They're gonna fall in this area at this point. I'm gonna plant the tree here and then launch it.
yeah.
I love Villager.
So also, just because I have the access to the Google box,
I've
and
seen
you
the
guys
DLCs.
don't, the Crash Bandicoot thing is an unsubstantiated rumor so far.
No. They released a trailer for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, everything
People
I
lost
was
their
finding
mind.
was people
Yeah.
saying they weren't sure. But the
Oh
one
no,
that,
I'm sorry. I meant Banjo Kazooie.
that's what I was going to say is
Yeah.
just to get nerd rage to quell. I think you meant Banjo Kazooie.
Yes.
Because that's been confirmed, which is
Yeah.
exciting to me. I got to say, I'm very disappointed. I haven't checked in with this game in a little bit.
Persona 5.
When I just heard Joker, I thought it was the Joker. It's some random
real dumb.
character from a property I don't give a shit about.
Persona 5.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
that's a so I
Sense 8, that's the same thing.
this may
right?
sound
Yeah.
dumb, but like I feel like Smash Brothers Ultimate teeters on the edge of a new question about this game,
Yeah.
which is what
teetering on the edge.
teetering
Of a new question.
Well, does this game need to be about Nintendo or does it need to be about all video games?
Yeah.
To make another one.
Well, Marvel v. Capcom, I guess that's only two worlds, but they're large worlds.
Yeah.
Like they push that. They followed this model. I think they're an interesting touchstone only because very traditional fighting game. Probably, I would say, the most plentiful form of fighting game, which are those cell animated left and right fighting
Yeah.
games like Capcom v. Marvel.
Yeah. Like Street Fighter.
That you would see in every arcade
Yeah.
ever forever. Does anyone remember the one Eternal Champions? No, that's Eternal Champions was good, but there was one of these animated ones where it was like nightmare type characters. There was a zombie who could turn his rib cage into a chainsaw.
I
and shit.
remember
Oh.
that.
It does.
If you're
strike a
listening, please
bell.
remind me because I want to play that game. I
It's
remember
driving me
loving it.
nuts that I can't remember what it was because it was very much like we know what skins we want. We just need some things that aren't IPs.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but I feel like Capcom v Marvel followed this trend of like by the end they had 80 some characters, and I think I would love to see Nintendo do that. But then, as someone who does care about world building and story, I guess I'd just be completely giving up on because I wouldn't want them to try to make sense of it. Like if
No,
Tony
they wouldn't do
Soprano
that.
is going to be, I would think
Yeah.
it was hilarious if Tony Soprano was available in the next fighting game. But don't try to explain how. Don't explain
I don't
why.
think
His
they're-
special move
I don't
is
think
just
they're
the game
doing that
cuts to
now.
black.
His special move is killing big pussy, and you're like, why, Maron? You only hurt yourself, Tony.
It's eating a sandwich and getting really angry and sulky. So
Ducks come and he strips naked and looks happy.
His special move is summoning Melfi.
So, I mean, Smash Brothers doesn't need context, right? Like,
No.
it's already past the point where it's a game universe that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well past that point.
But they keep trying. Like, I forget the names of the good and evil shapes in this, but there was beautifully CG'd sequences
Yeah.
that tried to make it a broad, generic story about
This
the
is a
nature
world.
of good
Right, right.
versus evil.
Right.
And, like, but they made specific plot choices, which I even thought they would just stay symbolic. Like,
Yeah.
darkness is here, let's beat it. But instead they were like, no, this rain came and stole everyone's souls. Kirby alone got away. Then this happened. And I'm like, don't try to give it a plot, please.
I would say they didn't really. I mean, like, sure,
Yeah,
those
good.
things happened.
I'm concerned about the trajectory. That's
No,
all.
I don't. I was frustrated that the song had words. It was like that alone
That
was
made
too
me
much.
lose my mind.
I didn't like it. Yeah, I
Because
wasn't a fan.
The amount of times where I like loading up Smash Brothers and then going to my kitchen and making a snack and
Yeah.
walking around my apartment and then the tune's playing and it's exciting. But when there's lyrics, that's
Then you're listening to a song.
It feels like it's happening at me.
Yep. Agreed. I didn't like the song either.
No, I
You
did.
know?
The vocals, the lyrics, all of it. It was very much gilding the lily in that the flower dies.
Agreed.
It was the Wild Wild West
So-
song effect.
I even the MCU and like Capcom versus Marvel still chooses to exclude certain things. Like for instance, Superman's not in Capcom versus Marvel.
Yeah.
Or Batman. Those are two big.
Well, they're
you know.
DC.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Is that like
Oh,
there
yeah,
are
yeah,
excluded
yeah,
properties,
yeah.
and I'm asking the question: should Smash Brothers become the video game fight game?
And that's why I
all
picked
video
Tony
games.
Soprano, because I think he's a good example of like, well, not every franchise. No, there's stuff that would ruin it.
But that's
But
not a
man,
video game character.
Can
I
we
would
think
argue.
of? Oh, but
Like I would say, like,
I see.
like Master Chief, Nathan Drake.
Okay, so specifically video game
Nathan,
characters.
Nathan Drake
because-
is already in a fighting game.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in Sony's fighting game.
Right.
Oh,
That's the
interesting.
thing. Is
Weird.
can we get?
Yeah.
Do we want that?
Well,
is
that's
that what we want?
But
Me,
Soul
no.
Calibur went into film franchises, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Like Darth Vader is an interesting inclusion.
I think that's a really cool pivot.
I
'cause
think
then-
Darth Vader could be in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
So, okay, I was trying to get you to open it up a little because
Yeah.
I would say my absolute, and I was actually just about to ask if we could each have one. My like franchise that hasn't been touched, Smash Brothers character would be Wile E. Coyote. All of his moves would be so
Oh my
awesome.
God.
I think it'd be perfect for
Yeah,
Smash.
Bugs
Anvil
Bunny.
down, rocket up,
Yeah,
roller
all
skates
Acme.
forward.
Roller skates forward. Yep.
My
Yep.
head immediately was like logic.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Just an accordion body. That's just like one of the things
Yeah.
that happens to him. Yeah. Yeah. Bugs Bunny. That franchise is woefully underrepresented in games. Now that I
Marvin
think
the
about
Martian could work as a Smash.
it. Oh, definitely Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny.
I
could
mean,
work
come
as
on.
Smash.
You know. Yeah. At
But
what point?
other
At
world,
what point are
what
we?
other
in-
world would you guys bring in?
I'd bring in a xenomorph. I think
Isn't Ridley kind of that?
Alien. That puts a really dark undertone to this game.
I mean, I feel like
does
Ridley
Darth Vader.
itself would
Metroid's
because
pretty playful still.
But you were cool with Darth Vader.
Darth Vader's
Turned his
is
back
now,
on his son, man. His
Oh, I
face
know,
got
yeah.
burned by lava.
Darth Vader is now more of a meme than he is a character.
I see.
To me, like,
Okay.
he's in so many things.
even then, Cloud's in it, and the Final Fantasy
Yeah.
series also gets really
That's dark.
sad.
Yeah.
Like there's
Agreed.
characters that have
Oh.
died and don't come back.
Well, Anna, the whole thing is about, or like, if I understand it at all correctly, yeah. I mean, Sephiroth's like,
don't say it all because I'm playing the game right now.
no, this is in the beginning.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying the general theme is there's like, it deals with sociopathic, godlike characters grieving their mothers through some psychosexual shit. Like, it's not
It's
Smash
fucked,
Brothers
yeah.
friendly
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all. Yeah.
The entire franchise itself isn't really that Smash Brothers friendly. There's a lot of like little pieces in it that are actually like from pretty dark gaming series, which is why I feel like a Xenomorph would work because it's like little mouth guy forward and like it's more of like a heavier than like a flying guy. Like I
You
feel
would
like
have some kind of go up in the vents and disappear for a second.
yeah.
Move, yeah.
Some like a stealth combined with like a reach element. And also because I feel like I really like these mid-sized characters that aren't quite like Bowser heavy or Kirby small, and I feel like we have way more heavies and way more smalls than we have a lot of mid-sizes.
Like Link-sized?
Like Link-sized,
Yeah.
Falcon-sized, and I feel like a
Falcon-sized.
Xenomorph is like a good mid-size.
I was a big King K. Rool fan in this installment, though.
I
He's very
loved
good.
King
Yeah.
K.
He's
Rool.
very good.
King
He's got-
K. Rool was fun.
And he's pretty
Unconventional
heavy.
body moves.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to do. It's like you don't know what he's doing.
He's shockingly fast for something
Very-
that heavy.
he's
That's what I was going to
spry.
say. Is he's
Yeah.
designed
For a fat
visually.
gator.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's designed visually like a Donkey Kong or something, but he's actually as fast as the mid-range characters.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
true.
I also liked how Bowser Jr. every skin was like a different.
That was
one
a
of
good
the
decision.
kids.
See,
Yeah.
that's what they
Clever.
should have done with all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like too. And like, it's interesting that you brought up bringing in other games because when I think of the Sony game and bringing in any of those entities, it doesn't really feel as fun.
Yep.
And I think that's also because the Sony game itself is like all of the characters in it are from a certain stretch of Sony gaming.
Agreed.
Where it went from like the cartoony era of Sony where you had like your Spyros and your Sly Coopers, and it ended right when it started
Your
becoming
Sly's Cooper.
your
please.
Sly is Koopa. And it ends like right when things got real with like Nathan Drake and Kratos in God of War. So like
Kratos.
Kratos is like the most non-cartoony character in it.
I want to see Kratos
Wow.
just pick Kirby up and just like bite into his head and blood runs down.
Well, you could see Kratos
And
just
Kratos
murk
is like,
that
I don't
princess.
even want to be doing this. I'm conflicted about it. Boy, kill Jigglypuff. Yes, father.
Don't sass me, Kirby.
But I would have said all the same things about Snake. Why the fuck is
Snake is a
there?
weird
Yeah.
addition. I
And yet-
agree.
If they
It
just
feels right.
insist for enough iterations,
He's very silly, though.
I would say you get over it. If they're just like, we're not giving up on Snake. Sorry, he's gonna be here. Eventually, you're like, fine, Snake is here.
I got the
like
box.
you get over it.
I
yeah.
think there's some rich territory from other older games, like Rayman could easily
Yeah.
be in Smash Brothers, or Kid Chameleon could easily be in Smash Brothers.
Oh yes, that would
like,
be a fun mechanic.
That's the kind of stuff I don't mind Nintendo brushing
I'd like
into the
the dig-
fold.
Yeah.
The Dig
You know?
Dug guy fucking injecting Kirby and blowing him up till he pops would be fun.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there we go. See, Battletoads. I think Battletoads could be in Smash
It
Brothers,
took
and
me
that would
so
be fun.
long to realize Battletoads is just the mellow yellow GoBots of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, not a good game.
It's
Sadly.
a letdown though to,
Yeah.
to realize that.
But the turtles with all four skins would feel really
could do it.
It would feel right for the direction that they're going in, where
Yeah.
it's like you get a turtle and you can either be like Mikey or Donatello, or
Yeah.
like
I like
that
that.
would make sense.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles could be in it. You could get Splinter.
I feel
the
like
trickiest, I think, is bipedal humans with normal body dimensions. Like
Yeah.
even the Fire Emblem people work because they're based on an anime world, so they have big eyes and stuff, and they kind of fit with your Kirby's and your Donkey's Kong. But man, anytime I'm like, what about such and such game where the hero is just like a human woman? That's what feels weird.
It is. See, I have
but we
one
have
more.
Wii Fit Trainer.
That's
That's
fucking-
my,
That's
that's my
just a
favorite
woman.
though, because it's so stupid. It's such a stupid.
It is
thing to
very
include.
stupid, but that is literally just a human woman.
and it has
Yeah.
no face.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
ghost
Creepy.
woman, like
Yeah,
a
it's
floating.
Oh,
ghost
and the
woman.
other skin is a dude. It can go. You can
Yeah.
go either way.
Briefly, would you be
Yeah, we should
opposed to?
wrap.
No. But would you be opposed to including Simpsons in this game?
Not at all.
And
here's
am
why.
into this.
Here's why I wouldn't be
I
opposed to
would.
putting The Simpsons in, and also why
You
the
would, I knew
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work. Is I feel like most of the characters that work and are picked for Super Smash Brothers have a certain arcade/video store element.
Agreed.
It has a certain looking at your wall of your video store, looking at the arcade, and seeing these characters that have become like iconic to this era.
Yep.
So even if they're like slightly out of it, they're still related in a certain way. So that's why I feel like the Turtles would work, the Simpsons would work, any of the characters from Rampage would work.
Oh yeah, the Rampage characters.
As
That's
like a
totally
specific
right.
heavy, and then
Primal
you go.
Rage, if you want to go do more honor to your video game roots.
Yeah.
What's the name of that game that's on the Sega selection? That's like you.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No. Sonic's included, by the way.
Yes.
The
That's
ultimate,
why
the
I'm
ultimate
against it,
victory
by the
lap
way.
for Mario.
Oh,
I think it's dangerous for Bart Simpson and Sonic the Hedgehog to ever exist in the same world because
'Cause they're-
it would be too rude and radical. Things would just fall apart.
No, I think what would happen is we'd realize Sonic's not that fast and he's not that rude.
Well, then-
'Cause Bart Simpson skate his ass right around him.
But
Is
if
what
we
would happen.
if we're building on
remember.
that, then you could just throw Cartman in there.
Yeah.
I don't want Cartman.
But see,
would-
South Park doesn't share the same emotional real estate in video games.
Neither
the way
The
the Simpsons do.
Correct.
And the
No, that
reason
game was huge.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the reason when you go into Smash and there's a cohesiveness to everything is right down to the levels, but the actual games, it feels like walking through an arcade. As
Yes,
opposed
it
to
does.
other games where it's just like this is a collection of our entities. Smash Brothers is basically a love letter to arcade gaming. And
Yeah, and the first 2 generations of console games.
Yeah.
I want them to add that robot with the Wolverine claws that was on the cover of every Killer Instinct game. And he was like the only
yeah.
He was the only cool character
Yeah.
on Killer Instinct.
Yeah. Super combo.
yeah, like it taps into a very certain specific character place. It's that video store arcade place. It's not
Yeah.
as opposed to everything else where like Soul Calibur, it makes sense when it goes into movies because that's where it's coming from, or Capcom, where like we're mining from comics. It's where are they mining these IPs from?
Yeah.
And Nintendo makes the most sense when it's, well, we've been around since the beginning, so why not mine from what else has been around from the beginning?
And
Lord
yeah,
of the
and
Rings.
it works. So I think
I could
then-
see Gollum.
So I think then the rules are really less about Nintendo going forward and
Yeah.
more about an era,
Yeah.
like a certain 10 to 15 year window or 20-year
Yeah.
window in video games.
Yeah. It almost has to step back away from current a little. Like,
Yeah, like Hubert could be in this game. But,
Yeah.
but BioShock
But see, I
can't.
don't think that is what they're doing. They're keeping it rolling. Like, I don't think they think of it as retro. They're going to keep that nostalgia window
Yeah.
up with the game as it goes forward. Like Bayonetta is not
Bayonetta,
super
that's a
nostalgic.
weird
Yeah.
inclusion.
They're going to keep
Or the
including
Squid Kids.
more modern
Yeah.
things. Splatoon,
and,
yeah.
Breath of the Wild Link was in this
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
It's very much like, what
don't
is the
think it's-
zeitgeist of gaming right now?
I don't think it's
Bloop.
only a nostalgia tour, though. It's also trying to keep up and continue to move
Yeah.
forward.
I agree, but I feel like it's going to lean increasingly, like that nostalgia thing is going to become incontrovertible for them.
Well, it
Like in a
already
certain-
is.
yeah,
I think
and-
they're well
and-
beyond that point. But they can do both. Like, they can add new, modern references.
They have to have an IP
As
that
well.
actually belongs,
Yeah.
which they do. But like, that's the thing is like, if it's not a Mario or a Zelda, will it belong?
Arthur from the Arthur cartoon fighting Caillou.
I will beat the shit out of
Why is-
Caillou.
why is Blanca not in
then
this
he
game,
summons
by the
Tony
way?
Soprano.
From Street Fighter 2, why is Blanca not in the game? He could have been in the game.
Blanca easily could have been in
And
the game.
Bison could have been in the game, too.
Any Street Fighter then.
But those are the iconic ones.
No, Dhalsim is the iconic
No!
Street Fighter.
Dhalsim-
or
get
Guile.
outta here.
Guile is the one on the cover
Yeah.
of Street
Oh,
Fighter
Guile should
2
have been
anyway.
in it. Yeah, Guile should have been in it instead of Ken. Right?
But Ken and Ryu became the
No, they
iconic
became-
faces of the
'Cause they're the
franchise.
first one.
Because
too.
they're the skins that you also look to when you're parodying it. Like if you look
Right.
at like playing the Scott Pilgrim game, there's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
moments where it's like, oh, this person is like clearly a Ken skin.
I think it's literally also because, in large part, the Hadouken is a simple to do move that became the first special move most fighting gamers ever learned, and it became the iconic fighting game move is down, right, punch.
It did.
Yeah.
And yet
And
the,
everyone's
and the
like,
punch was
yeah.
almost impossible
and
to
that's
do.
Ryu's move, so
Yeah.
they associate it with him, so he wins.
Yeah.
But Ryu's fucking boring. Well, it's like
I think he's fun to play with.
we were playing Mortal Kombat and talking about how who's the guy who's just Bruce Lee? Liu Kang. You're like, he's kind of boring. It's
yeah.
funny that they feel compelled. He has to be the main character.
I mean, let's save that because we're going to talk about it. But
Right.
Liu Kang is infuriating.
who would
I
you say
agree.
is the main character of Smash? Is it Kirby?
It's Mario.
It's Mario.
Even though
He's the Mickey Mouse of
I've
the
just
operation.
noticed Kirby seems to get a lot of camera time
He
throughout
really
the entire
does.
franchise in all of the interstitial, like in the cutscenes.
Because I feel like
Is it
Kirby.
because he's easy to animate?
It's not because he's easy to animate. I feel like it's because Kirby is the one you show where it's like anyone can play this. When you show
guess.
a literal pink ball with no ankles and no feet still holding its own, it makes it
Sure.
less scary to be like, oh, I can even be the cute one and still do pretty well.
He's
and
also-
Kirby definitely is beginners who want to survive and smash buttons and get the feel for things.
Yeah, just
Kirby's
kinda
a strong
float around
choice.
for a
He's
little
also
bit. Yeah.
literally the character that can steal everybody else. He's Shang Tsung.
Yeah,
He's
he's the
Shang
welcome
Tsung
wagon.
for fucking Smash Brothers.
Or the Kid Chameleon, for
Yeah,
that matter.
exactly.
Yeah. Kirby is the one you display first to get new players more integrated into the game and feel like it's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can hold my own even if I'm Kirby or Peach or any of these things.
And yet, how many Kirby games have you purchased in your life?
shockingly
two.
like 4.
4. Oh
The
my
original
God,
Kirby's
that is
Dream
3
Land
more
and
than
then
I have
another
ever
one.
thought of purchasing in my life. I bought
Dreamland is very
one.
fun.
Yeah, Kirby's Dream Land's super fun. Well, hardest character to control, like most intimidating for a beginner. For me, I think Snake's got to be up there
Yeah, he's bad to use.
to throw to a beginner.
Yeah.
I think Cloud is another. I keep
Cloud is
harping
tough
on
to
Cloud.
control.
He's not great.
I'm going to say...
Sonic's tough to control, actually.
Actually, I was going to say Sonic.
So
Yeah.
fast, yeah.
Sonic is one
just
that's
so fast.
He's so fast and he's so light that
So
if you're someone that hasn't learned how to like dodge or like kind of
Yeah.
position yourself to not get knocked out so easily, Sonic is a hard one to maneuver. Man, he's
I'm
like
trying
he's
to
just
think.
designed to go really fast.
Yeah,
Speaking
it's like
of so
that.
fast, time passes so fast when you're chatting about Smash Brothers,
It
doesn't
sure
it?
does.
But I think we got to wrap it up.
Which one of us would win in a Smash Brothers game?
Are we digitized into versions of ourselves?
No, we're just playing the game as human beings.
I like the
Oh, I
direction you
thought
went
I
you
in.
like
meant-
what you
I
decided.
went
thought
like
you
a
meant
writing
us
prompt.
fighting as characters within the universe of the game.
that is an interesting question.
Or I was like, did you just mean who would win in a physical fight if we started throwing punches at each other right now?
Neither
And
of
tried to
those
throw
are
each other
reasonable
out?
options.
Oh man, I'm like a spider monkey. I feel like I'd be
In real
able to
life?
like,
Always said
yeah,
that
just
about
like
you.
just scratchy and climby.
You're slowly turning
meant
into a
this-
Fantastic Four character for me.
I just meant your general
Slowly.
aroma when I've always said that.
Yeah, I smell like I live in
Like a
trees.
spider monkey.
Yeah, just
Smell wise.
scratchy and climby and screechy.
I love
But man, I feel like in
Wow.
an actual having played with you guys, I'm going to say
Ooh, she's doing it. I see it.
I know it's not me.
Not with those rubber fingers.
It's got to be Adam, or he wouldn't
It's
have
Adam.
asked, right?
It's,
It's
not.
Adam.
It's no. You won. Remember, you won the tournament when we played.
no.
It was Kevin.
Kevin
Then
won.
you were two.
Kevin won for sure.
Kevin
Then Griffin.
demolished us.
I may
I
have
didn't
been
play
third.
Griffin.
I think I was third.
Griffin was not there.
Griffin was not there?
No,
I
I've
know.
never,
Beat
I've
me.
never met him.
I know I was happy.
Literally never met this man.
I was happy to compete.
Uh-huh.
But
Sure
I
you
know
were.
I was
Sure you
not
were.
anywhere close to the top. I was happy to play against anyone that wasn't Kevin. Anytime it was
That's
like,
fair.
cool,
Poor Kevin. He's getting
cool Adam,
some-
cool. It's because he's just
Yeah,
so
you're the one who outed
overpowered.
him by name. We were
He's-
calling him
she just
her
said it.
ex.
No, he deserves to know he's the meta knight of Smash players.
He was a wonderfully fun person to play with in this game. By the way,
Because he's also
very
like such a
fun.
good sport
Yeah,
the
he
whole
really is.
time, where he's just like, oh no, look, you're getting better, you're lasting longer, and it's like, thank you
Yeah.
for humoring what's
He beat the
not
living
true.
shit out of me with Dark Samus, and I still liked him. So that says a lot about
Yeah,
him.
it's the most charming person to be too good at something.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think it might be out of the three of us, I think it's you.
I'd like the audience to answer the question: if we were digitized into the game as characters, who would win that fight? And what
I
would the
think the
moves
more
be?
interesting answers are what would our moves be.
Yeah, what
also.
would the moves be?
Yeah.
I want to hear that.
All right. Final checkpoint. And that brings us to our final segment, which we call Keep or Delete, which are like final thoughts,
Yeah.
roundup. And then it's nice if you say whether you would keep or delete this game from like some sort of celestial hard drive
Plane.
of good games that has great taste about it.
Yeah.
Please guess first.
All right. I feel like Smash, like Mario Kart, is the pantry staple of a gaming collection.
Agreed.
When I worked in gaming resale, it was out of everything that we got resold to us, I almost never saw a Smash or a Mario Kart
Come back.
Almost never.
Yeah.
It's why even when it's used, the price is still pretty high, around 40 to 50.
Yep.
Because it's one of the few buy it for life type games. It's, well, you're over. Ooh, I have this game. We can jump into this. I almost never saw them come back. It feels almost sacrilegious to sell them because it's it's like having sugar or salt in your kitchen. You just kind of have to have them.
It's not a kitchen without it. What are
Yeah.
you doing in there?
Exactly.
Get
It's
out
like
of
you don't
there.
have anything to cook with. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
so
Well,
it's
a lot of
it's-
our listeners don't have a Nintendo system, but with that exception aside,
Yeah.
agreed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like if you have a Nintendo system, it's
you
almost
must have it.
you have them.
And in fact, it has driven the sales of more than one system. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's arguably the reason people buy Nintendo
It's
systems.
the reason
Yeah.
why many
Yeah.
of them do.
Yeah, exactly.
They have like 4
Or they'll
gaming
be
pillars.
like,
This is one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's going to be a new Zelda and a new Smash. That's all I need to know. I'll buy that system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a forever keep. As long as I have a Nintendo, I'm going to have this game.
Okay.
I delete it because this is specifically in reference to Ultimate, and I remain a Melee guy.
I delete it because of Melee also.
I think Melee is the sveltest version. I like the number of characters it had and the amount of physics it had.
Yeah, I think Melee is the more innovative and more important of the Smash Brothers. That's an arguable point, but
Yeah.
I'm willing to live with it. I don't think all Smash Brothers should be canonized.
Well, now that
This
it's
one
going to
should
go
be
on
canon.
forever,
This one should.
I'd almost want to wait and see.
What's the best
Because
one?
I'm like, this one is just more of the trends it's been going in. So I'm like, all right, let's see 5 from now.
Here's my
what they're
argument
at.
for why this
is it going to
one-
have 250 characters or what?
some
Melee
point.
is
Yeah.
the best of like 2-3 games after it. This one is the one that bridged 2 different generations. And I think that's why this one stays. Because
not Melee?
I mean, Melee's always going to stay.
so both.
But-
So you're keeping 2.
Melee is something for me that's like, this is my perfect one. This is the one I grew up with. But Ultimate is the one where it bridges like everyone me up and everyone me down in our age groups, where it's like there's
Yeah.
something for everyone.
I agree with
where
that.
like my 9-year-old niece and like an older relative can both jump in and be like, these are ones that I know. And this is the first one to bridge such a wide swath of age groups.
Yeah.
I want to give it credit for that, but I also feel like, because they just added 1 million characters. Like, the game itself
I
is
find
not
this-
really different.
I find this Ultimate system's kind of clunky and stuff. Yeah.
The cards are the things that,
See, the cards are fine.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't mind that. It's
for me.
It just
game
wasn't my
it's-
favorite entry in the whole series.
Yeah, the
personally.
game itself is clean and simple
Yeah.
enough, and you can do every version of it you want to do. But I don't think it says. I don't think it matters as much as Melee. Maybe just because of history.
I
don't
think
know.
there is such a thing as less is more in being selective.
that.
I won't give it to me. It always dings you when you're like, this is just the compendium installment where we added everything.
Everything's
that's
in
ever
it.
been.
Correct.
I'm like, okay, well, I kind of wanted a more slightly more curated than that. But okay.
briefly,
It's
and I don't-
nice to have the version that has everything.
I don't want to like waste too much time. Do you want Smash Brothers to be different than this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
don't
do.
know if I
Yeah.
do.
It's not my favorite fighting series, as
Oh,
I said.
wow.
Soul Calibur would be it.
Yeah. See, I think they can. I mean,
I
they
don't-
can marginally improve it. I don't think they could take it in a new direction.
Yeah.
That seems like no, they're not going to.
I'm a very emotional person, so that
Sure.
feeling of being burned, literally, I don't like it. So I don't play Smash Brothers that much because I don't. I
And
don't.
yet you and I had so much fun.
I don't want to
playing
put my neck out. I don't want to risk feeling that feeling. I don't
Yeah.
like that feeling.
Interesting.
That's why I don't play most games where it's versus each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like co-op.
it. Interesting.
I do like
They
the
should
cards.
add Brad Dourif from Myst in the next Smash Brothers.
Mist is really back in the zeitgeist right now.
It just got
They ma-
optioned for
yeah, that
film.
movie,
I'm excited
right.
about that.
I am not. 'cause
Abduction was great.
Okay. I mean, like I
It's
just
their newest game.
Yeah.
All right, how about Brad Dourif, but like Child's Play as a character?
How about Brad Dourif from Deadwood? Just make a game around that
And
doctor.
Smash Brothers?
Oh yeah, why not? Just comes out. God damn it! I'll tell you. You know, he just lectures your character out into space. You know,
press B to shoot Pikachu, and he's like, "My talents, such as they are, cannot function at this remove." You're like, "All right, well, we're gonna lose then." Brad Dourif.
but he could knock Swearingen right the fuck out of there.
Did it please you, God, when Jigglypuff's body rotted in the fields? Did the stench reach your eyes?
God, I'm so glad I set this joke up for you. You really smashed it.
I love everything Brad Dourif, and that's the note we'll go out on.
Jingle Jingle?
You nailed it.
Fleep-a-deep-deep.
We finally found it. The students become the bling bling. Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us. Can you plug things, please?
Yeah. If you have cable and now on iTunes, every Thursday I'm on El Rey Nation, a show on El Rey Network. It's 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. It's my baby. I have a lot of creative freedom on that show, so I get to really like dive into why certain genres are beloved or like really interesting trends. So I love that. And also check out my sketch team, Night Church, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it may be. I've never tasted so much fake blood in my whole life.
Damn.
Yep.
There was no bloodmouth in the Matrix sketch, was there?
No, because
like
I was
that.
there's no blood mouth in the Matrix. But that was one where I was just like, 1 week I want to not clean something out of my hair. So
Gotcha.
that was one where I'm like, I just want to walk in and walk out as I am.
Yeah.
We all got lines.
Yep.
We all
No
got lines.
boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Adam, final thoughts?
No, I don't. We did it.
Work complete.